Hey everybody, what's going on? Mark here with a quick announcement before we get started with this week's episode. We got a live show coming up.
We do.
Oh, it's going to be Saturday, June 29th, 5 p.m. at the Thirsty Pug here in Auburn, New York. It is located at 100 Genesee Street in the Genesee Street Plaza near Mesa Grande. So for those of you in town that know where it is, check it out. For those of you that don't, there's an event page on Facebook. You can go there, get the directions if you so want to do that. And we talked about it for a little while, and Chris pulled some strings to make it happen.
How much is this escapade going to cost our good listeners?
It's going to be free.
Free?
It's a free live show.
Unfathomable.
For free, you can go to the Thirsty Pug and watch this recorded podcast
for the very first time in front of an audience. So really, all we can promise is beards, monsters, and access to beer.
Yeah, totally.
And we're just going to do our level best. God bless us.
I think it's going to be
one and all.
I think it's going to be really good.
I'm just trying to keep the expectations reasonable.
I got a good feeling about this, Robert.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be
I'm stoked.
So again, that is going to be Saturday, June 29th, 5 p.m. At the Thirsty Pug, 100 Genesee Street here in Auburn, New York. No cover, free show, Kryptonaut Podcast live.
And it's at a beer shop.
Yeah.
So bring money because it's a delicious craft beer shop where you can buy beer, drink beer while you listen, and then continue to have beer for home or wherever the next step of your journey is.
That is true.
Yeah, and we'll be there hanging out, before the show and after the show. So, come by and say hi.
Yeah, we'll have a little Q&A.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe be hanging out. Who knows?
Yeah, totally. So there you have it. Without further ado, Christopher Q. That creepy music. Welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I'm Mark Storrs, and with me, as always, is
Chris Carnicelli
and
Rob Morphy.
Thank you all so very much for joining us. Be sure to check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/KryptonautPodcast. We do bonus audio content. You get shout-outs, you get thank yous, you get all kinds of fun stuff, so go check that out. TeePublic, you can get some merch there. Same thing with our Big Cartel shop, where some of the items are going out of stock quickly. So if you're going to want to jump on anything, I recommend doing it now. Those are going to be out of the shop soon. Social media is the Instas, the Twitters, the Facebooks. Be sure to check all that stuff out on our Facebook fan group. Go there. It's super cool, super fun. Lots of cool polls and different posts and things.
Yeah.
You've been
I have been. I was just there last night.
Tons of fun
stuff. It's awesome. Yeah.
Tons of fun stuff. So check that out. And this week we are talking about the death ship of the South Sea, the Ourang Medan mystery.
Indeed we are.
So, Rob, we're going to the high seas.
We are. One of the great maritime mysteries.
Now, last week we were mucking it up in the swamps.
We were.
Just getting all kinds of feisty.
Yeah, we were.
We were just getting all over Batwing ships and all kinds of shit.
What the audience didn't get to hear is literally the hour and a half of friend bickering that we indulged in before. Just dredging up shit from the past and rubbing it in. I'm going to say a phrase that is completely an in-joke that no one but the three of us will get. Scan the bag.
Oh
my God.
The bag,
I was just thinking of that earlier today at work, actually.
We went archival. So we were feeling, in the sweet, dear friend way, fairly cantankerous, and I think it did carry over into the swamp a little bit. Maybe you were too eager to kill the swampy aliens. Maybe Chris and I were being sage and well-mannered and trying to be good earthen hosts, but maybe not. Maybe we were wrong. I'm just more open and able to listen to your point of view this week.
I think maybe if we all just accept that we're different people with different opinions about shit that might not exist, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, some of us are more violent immediately.
That's true.
All right, that sounds...
And want to shoot everything on command. I don't even know what that means.
That sounds very accusatory. But I'm just going to take that as your acceptance of my stance for wanting to occasionally drink too much and shoot creatures.
Occasionally.
And shoot the unknown.
Not a big deal.
Shoot the unknown. The Mark Storrs story.
But this week we are hitting the high seas. So let's begin with, since the earliest humans first gazed out into their seemingly endless expanse, the world's oceans have been the source of both wonder and terror. For centuries, eerie tales of ghost ships like the Flying Dutchman and the Mary Celeste have been passed down from one generation of seafarer to the next. But as ill-omened as these haunted vessels are alleged to be, there is another even more disturbing maritime mystery that deals not with ships that have been abandoned, but those whose crew have inexplicably perished. Arguably the most disturbing of these legends is the dreadful case of the SS Ourang Medan.
Death on the high seas.
Oh, man.
I can't say inexplicably
But you,
because my
Well,
mouth
you
and
know.
lips don't allow me to move like that.
But was
you did
close.
pretty
I was
good.
close. It was
yeah.
close. Yeah.
I felt really good. I mean, this
Well,
was
good.
this was a
knew-
mouthful of an introduction.
Yeah.
You hammered through it.
I knew the word you were trying to say.
And
Yeah.
it slid a little. My tongue don't work. I have a problem with my tongue, and my lips don't move right.
Hey, you know, you didn't learn to read until you were 33, and we're all proud of you.
Yeah.
Actually 36, but whatever. Thank you for giving me the year. So, Robert, let's hit the open seas there, my dude.
I'm very excited about this. According to widely circulated reports, in either June of 1947 or February of 1948, it's a little iffy, multiple ships traversing the trade routes of the Strait of Malacca, which is located between the sun-drenched shores of Sumatra and Malaysia, just beautiful islands, claim to have picked up a series of SOS distress signals. The unknown ship's message was as simple as it was disturbing. All officers, including captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead.
That's not the message you want to get over in SOS.
No.
You hope that someone fucked it up.
Yeah.
Like Terry, did you read that correctly?
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
I sure did.
Yeah.
Captain to everyone's dead,
Really?
lying
Chart
around
room?
rooms.
Well,
Really?
who sent it?
They
If
don't
everyone's
know.
dead.
It was just, yeah, well, there.
I'm dead. We're all dead.
Whole crew's dead.
We all died.
Help?
Yeah.
I guess.
Could be. All right, well, let's.
We're
read
going to
on
find
here.
out. Well, we're not actually going to find out the identity, but we're going to find the context.
All right.
The communication was followed by a burst of indecipherable Morse code, followed by a final grim message simply stating, "I die."
Oh.
This cryptic proclamation was followed with tomb-like silence. So whoever it was, let's call him Second Mate Stevens. He just had
Okay.
the wherewithal to be like, we're fucked, we're all fucked, everything's fucked, I'm fucked, bye.
So I was right. I'm dead. They're dead. We're all dead.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was hoping to get from this SOS call, like,
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
bury me in ancestral ground or something.
Yeah, like, you know.
I don't know, but
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, I guess you're just trying to get the message out, like, hey, you know.
You know, when you find the
We got a
floating
real-
cemetery,
Yeah.
you were warned.
We got a real big problem here, guys.
The chilling distress call was picked up by 2 American ships as well as a British and Dutch listening post. The men manning these posts managed to triangulate the source of the broadcasts and deduced that they were likely emanating from a Dutch freighter known as the SS Ourang Medan. A once conscripted American merchant ship called the Silver Star was the closest to the presumed location of the Ourang Medan, and, reacting to the frightful urgency of the message that came over the airwaves, the captain and crew of the Silver Star wasted no time in changing their course in an effort to assist the apparently incapacitated ship. Within hours, the Silver Star caught sight of the Ourang Medan rising and falling in the choppy waters of the Malacca Strait. As the merchant craft neared the ill-omened vessel, the crew noticed that there was no sign of life on the deck. The Americans attempted to hail the Dutch crew to no avail. As they got closer, the men of the Silver Star began to notice strange, immobile forms slouched over the stairs and railings of the Ourang Medan, and waves of alarm began to ripple through the sailors.
Ah, dude, like you said, man, the floating graveyard.
It really is.
Yeah.
Can you see it like you can almost see like the sun dipping behind it, and it's just eerily not moving except the rising
just
and falling of
everyone's
the
all-
ocean.
Yeah.
And you just see
Yeah.
these silhouetted figures.
Just all hunched over and dead.
You just you want
mean,
you
they're-
want to puke in your mouth
They're
immediately.
not taking a nap. Be a weird spot to take a
Oh
nap.
no, it's not mass
Well-
deck nap time.
Yeah.
Oh.
The captain of the Silver Star commanded that a boarding party be sent to investigate. I would not want to be part of that fucking team.
No.
As the wary assemblage of men left the safe haven of the Silver Star for the Ourang Medan, they had no idea that they were about to walk into a living nightmare.
Dun, dun, dun.
As soon as the party boarded the unnervingly silent vessel, the men realized that the distress calls were not an exaggeration. The decks of the ship were littered with corpses of its Dutch crew, their eyes bulging, arms extended, seemingly grasping at unseen assailants, faces twisted into rictus masks of anguish and unmistakable horror.
See, if you're gonna find like the dead, that's terrible. But when they're all contorted
The
and
fucked
weird
up
looking,
dead.
the fucked up dead.
my
There you
favorite
go.
movie.
Yeah, no, the twisted dead. Yeah, totally.
This is not what you want to
no one
see,
needs
man.
it.
This is,
Plus,
no.
it's like
All
horrible
right.
enough if you stumble upon like a Jonestown scene or something totally heinous like that.
Sure.
But everyone looks like they're sleeping. Of course, it smells horrible and it's a vast human tragedy. But when they're all like arms twisted,
Yeah.
faces like locked in terror,
No,
it's just you're not going to sleep well
Bad day.
for 3 decades.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seriously.
or yeah.
Yeah, ever again. Even the ship's dog was dead.
Jesus Christ, really?
Its once fierce snarl now frozen in a ghastly grimace of agony.
Killed the dog.
Killed the dog.
Something did.
The boarding party found the remains of the Ourang Medan's captain still on the bridge, while the bodies of his officer were strewn about the wheelhouse and chart room. The ever more terrified search party split up, great call, and discovered the lifeless communications officer still at his post. All right, so we know it was the communications officer, bearing the same terrified, wide-eyed expression as the rest, his fingertips resting on the telegraph. It was he who had made the desperate plea for help before acknowledging his own imminent demise by typing, "I die."
Right.
Below deck, searchers found cadres of corpses in the boiler room, all in the same inexplicably horrific state. It was then that the Americans began to shiver. It wasn't just the shock of their ghastly discovery that caused the trembling, but a bone-jarring chill that seemed to emanate from the base of the hold, despite the fact that the temperature on the deck was a nearly unbearable 110 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right, that's definitely something's going on there.
Yeah, the ocean's not that cold.
No, and it shouldn't be that cold below deck, but
You would think the heat would get kind of trapped.
he does rise, but you would think that it would be like moist and gross down there. Not
Yeah, you're right.
freezing.
Basements are usually a lot cooler, so
Yeah.
that's false assumption on my part.
Right, but still, shouldn't be that cold
Nevertheless,
down there.
tremble cold on a 110-degree day.
Yeah.
Try as they might, it was almost impossible for most of these seasoned mariners to hold their nerve while probing this ship of horrors. But, like true professionals, they pushed on with their unappetizing task. Even the more hard-headed officers found themselves anxious and puzzled, noting that although the crew of the Ourang Medan had clearly suffered profound physical agony at the moment of their deaths, there was no evidence of bodily injury or any indication of foul play on the swiftly decaying corpses. Stranger still was the fact that they could find no damage to the ship itself. All right, so that's the fuck it up.
Okay.
That's where the monkey dick gets thrown in the works, because nothing wrong with the ship.
Right.
No sign of foul play, no injury, just horrible dead, solid ship.
Yeah. All right.
It was as if every living thing on board had spontaneously been struck down by a sudden and overwhelming burst of heart-stopping terror. That's a medical term.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
My
what you
favorite.
have.
It's likely that as soon as the derelict vessel had been found, some superstitious old sea dog began to speculate that the ill-fated Dutch crew likely had a run-in with the vengeful sea wraiths. Fucking love the
Oh,
sea
wraiths.
Well, that's man. When shit goes awry on the sea, you blame the sea wraiths.
Always.
Yeah, or like
Every
mermaids
time.
and shit.
Or
Totally.
harpies sometimes.
Yeah.
Sirens if there's
Totally.
music
Yeah.
involved. Restless spirits doomed to wreak havoc on the living. That's what sea wraiths are, of course.
Sweet.
The unnatural chill coming from the cargo hold would have only bolstered the clout of this theory, at least in the eyes of the naive deckhands. The more pragmatic and fiscally minded sailors would have deemed it their duty to salvage this freighter, and despite the reluctance of some members of his crew, that's exactly what the captain of the Silver Star decided to do.
I mean, just because
that's
everyone's
straight profit.
because everyone's
Well,
dead.
yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
technically a free ship.
Yeah, that's a salvage.
Yeah. I mean, does that work for like a lot of shit? Where if you're like, oh look, everyone in the car is dead, free car.
I don't
that
think
work?
maritime law applies to highways.
Oh, is this maritime? Okay, all right. No,
Yeah,
no,
well,
not
no.
that I'm an expert in that
This
either.
is Terra law.
Yeah, Terra law. Terratime law states
Dude.
that if your whole family dies in the minivan,
Yeah.
we can drive by and fucking
Yeah.
scrap it for
That's
parts.
the
take
spoils
stereo,
of shit happens.
All your napkins in the glove box, mine.
Sorry, dude, your bike's mine.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, see ya.
Oh, your kid's got a nice shirt. Boom.
No, well, he just has to be
Well, it's
asleep or
dark.
something.
It's
Hey,
fucking dark.
If it's a cool, what if it's an old Misfits T-shirt? You're gonna take. You're gonna take it.
all right. Fair enough.
You don't need it.
You got me.
He's not Egyptian. He's not gonna wear it in the fucking afterlife.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah, he might.
Terra-
All right, so they
Time law.
fucking they
I-
great. All right, so they fucking take the ship.
They're taking the ship. He ordered his men to tether the Silver Star to the Ourang Medan so that they could tow this floating graveyard, a phrase we've come to love,
Nice.
of rust and steel back to the port. The crew obeyed the captain's command, but as soon as they attached the ropes, the death ship suddenly erupted with ominous billows of smoke that poured up from the lower decks. And specifically, they noted, the number 4 hold.
So you get this thing ready. You're like, we got a haul, boys, and then boom, fire.
You know what? Here's the thing. I'm already freaked out, but if I'm one of those like grizzled old sea salts that isn't afraid of anything, and it's just some dead bodies and fuck it, I fought in 3 wars and I was a French legionnaire when I was 12 or whatever the fuck this guy is because he doesn't care, I would be like, I tied this whole fucking thing up and
this?
now you catch fire?
Yeah.
You
Seriously,
cocksucking ship? You couldn't do this 20 minutes ago.
Honestly, I'd say fuck it. We're bringing it back on fire. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Well, you go down with it.
Yeah,
Jesus
you tow back rusty fire nothing.
Yeah,
Because it catches
or
on fire.
You keep the greenhorn deckhands. You keep all the new guys on that rope, and when that thing gets too close, you cut that ship, and then you just let the fucking funeral pyre go down.
It is like a big giant
Dutch
Viking funeral.
You gotta at least make the attempt at this. You already tied it up. You gotta make the attempt.
I don't know if they value knots that much.
Don't matter, dude. Dude, I'm telling you, I've been in situations like this where we're not with a ship, but where you do something and you're like, it's fucked, and then you got to go, we're doing it.
Because I was about to say, you have never been in a situation, anything fucking like this.
No, not
ever in your
not
life.
with a ship, but just, you're
Not even with a fucking RV. You've
working
never
with-
been in this
working on a
situation.
project.
Not even
or
a
something.
terror time situation like this.
You were never towing a VW bug that suddenly erupted in flames. You're like, fuck it, I tied the knots.
Yeah.
We're taking this to the junkyard.
I have actually connected. Well, I can't know if I can tell the story.
Smoke's
or
coming
not.
out of somewhere, but fuck it, tow it.
It had flat tires, and we were like, fuck it, we don't care. We're dragging it anyway.
That's exactly like this. I stand
I mean,
corrected.
not really. No, it's not, but we did. All right.
Yeah, well, I drove a car with a flat tire. I did that once. Remember that?
I do remember that.
I know.
To get back to the story, if I may. The boarding party scarcely had a chance to cut the tow line and make it back to the Silver Star before the Ourang Medan exploded with such tremendous force that it, quote-unquote, lifted herself from the water and swiftly sank.
Man.
So it's pretty fucking lucky that they chopped those ropes. The American crew watched the vessel disappear into the briny depths of the Malacca Strait, no doubt breathing deep sighs of relief that the tow line had not dragged them down into the sea with her. And perhaps wondering if whatever it was that had claimed the lives of the Dutch sailors, be it biological, chemical, or paranormal, might not have managed to board the Silver Star with the search party. Sailors are a superstitious lot.
Well, yeah, totally.
For many aboard the would-be rescue ship, it would be a long and paranoia-fueled journey back to port. While rumors of the Silver Star's grisly discovery circulated wildly along the trade routes of the East Indies, the first official account of the event would not be printed until May of 1952. That's 5 fucking years later.
All right.
In the form of the quote-unquote Proceedings of the Merchant Marine Council, which was published by the United States Coast Guard. The testimony therein described the alarming state of the Dutch crewmen, even going so far as to state, their frozen faces were upturned to the sun, staring as if in fear. The mouths were gaping open and their eyes staring. To have that in an official report is pretty fucking visceral.
Yeah, that's
That's
It's
after.
a little salacious.
a little bit. It's gonna cause a stir.
It will indeed.
Yeah.
Despite his reference, the first problem modern researchers found with trying to ascertain what happened to the now infamous Dutch freighter is the fact that there didn't seem to be any official records that it existed in the first place.
Oh,
A mystery within a mystery.
shit.
My friends, it gets deeper.
Oh no, bring us, Rob.
They confirmed that the Silver Star was real, but there was less of a paper trail leading to the Ourang Medan. Researchers speculated that the ship likely hailed from Sumatra, which at the time was a colony of the Netherlands in what was referred to as the Dutch East Indies.
Okay.
And if you ever watch a Barry Prima film, you will understand that the Indonesians
God,
were
yeah.
none too happy about that situation. Another story for another time.
All right.
Researchers also pointed out that Orang is Indonesian for man, and Medan is the biggest city on the island of Sumatra, which would designate this enigmatic vessel as the man from Medan. The old man from Medan. It sounds like a music that you'd hear.
It sounds like a song from the 80s.
Shh.
The Man from Medan.
Author and historian Roy Bainton dedicated years in pursuit of the true story of the death ship. First, he went to the usual sources, but was unable to find any mention of the ship in Lloyd's shipping register or the Dictionary of Disasters at Sea. which I own 6 volumes
The
of.
dictionary of
And it is just the best read you will ever have.
disasters at
It is
sea.
bedtime stories for your kids for years to come.
Oh, that
How
sounds
often-
great.
I mean, is it like annually updated?
It would have to be.
Well, we've got 26 new entries in this dictionary.
I mean, it's not like sea disasters ever stopped at some point.
No.
They might have lessened because sea
Oh,
travel
yeah,
lessened.
yeah.
Maybe
when
now-
shit wasn't made of rickety wood, things probably got
maybe
better.
now they have like a Facebook page that they just update. You know,
Could you imagine?
Yeah, they're just like, hey guys,
like our Disasters at Sea Facebook page, updated bi-monthly.
Yeah,
Don't drown.
don't drown.
You know, you have to add that. A little uplifting touch
Oh, jeez.
with a not drowning face. I don't know what that emoji would be.
Yeah, no, it'd just be like someone happy in the water as opposed to like slumped over.
Happy in the water.
Happy in the water.
Happy
Yeah.
in the water.
All right.
Clap your hands.
There you go. All
All
right.
right. So, this fucking awesome dictionary. Bainton researched his way through the United Kingdom Admiralty, the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich, Dutch shipping records in Amsterdam, and the Maritime Authority in Singapore, all to no avail. That's a globe-trotting,
This
hardcore
guy's
fucking researcher.
He's got some time on his hands, dude.
and some money,
Yeah,
apparently.
Jesus.
Just as he was about to give up his investigation and write off the whole thing as an old sailor's yarn, Bainton was contacted by Professor Theodor Searsdorf of Essen, Germany, who had been pursuing the case for the better part of 50 years and was the first to reveal the names of the 2 American ships that had heard the Ourang Medan's SOS calls. Searsdorfer gave to Bainton a 32-page German booklet written in 1954 by Otto Melke. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but we'll live with it. Entitled Das Totenschiffen der Sudsee, or Death Ship in the South Sea, which detailed the Ourang Medan's route, cargo, tonnage, engine power, and even allegedly the captain's name. So, whoever
Okay,
fucking this
well,
guy was,
whoever Milky
Otto
is.
Milky,
Yeah.
he fucking
He
apparently
had
had
all
this
the
shit
info.
on lockdown.
What the fuck?
Melky's pamphlet was also the source of the June 1947 date and added yet another compelling piece to the puzzle, which helped to reignite Bainton's interest in the project. This intriguing new bit of possible evidence was that the number 4 hold of the Ourang Medan may have been filled with a pair of exceedingly lethal and highly illegal substances. According to Bainton,
Some piracy here.
there is a tantalizing possible explanation as to her crew's demise and her disappearance from the records. Melky, Jesus Christ, I'm just going to call him Melky.
oh, Belky.
It really,
Balcony? Okay.
fucking...
Just-
Melky mentions a mixed lethal cargo on the Dutchman of Cyan Kali, I think it's right, potassium cyanide is what it really is, and nitroglycerin. Needless to say, this would be a dangerous enough concoction in a laboratory with the highest safety protocols. But in a cargo hold on the rough seas, it was a potential catastrophe, one which might explain not only the seemingly inexplicable demise of the Dutch crew, but also the subsequent explosion that claimed the freighter herself.
So we could just be dealing with,
Standard
Yeah.
chemical
a lack
accident.
of safety protocol.
Isn't that
Well,
always the way?
a pretty big lack. I mean, the lackest.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like the anti-safety protocols.
Yeah, totally.
It's like danger hold. Number
Yeah.
4 is
Number
danger
4.
hold.
There
Everyone
it is.
knows it.
All right,
Fuck.
don't smoke your cigarettes around there.
And you know what you
boys.
don't also let? Sea wraiths fucking man the fucking hold.
Yeah,
Because you know what they are? Troublemakers.
they are. All right.
Every fucking time.
All right, so we might have a possible explanation here, but let's move on and see what else we could possibly come up with.
Even more terrifyingly, according to Bainton, is the conjecture that the Ourang Medan may have been smuggling nerve gas or even more insidious biological weapons manufactured by a sinister assembly of Japanese scientists whose experiments were so heinous that many of the atrocities perpetrated by the Nazis in the name of science pale by comparison. This diabolical faction was unassumingly referred to as Unit 731.
The fucking
Yeah.
dirtiest.
The worst.
For our listeners out there, if you don't know anything about Unit 731, there's a couple of documentaries out there.
Yes. We're going to give you a brief description in a moment.
Yeah, but it's-
and there's a couple
let's
movies
just say
like
this.
The Man Behind the
Man
Sun,
Behind the Sun is what I'm thinking
which
of.
I cannot recommend really with good
no,
conscience.
it's terrible. Let's just say this. Blanket statement, it's fucked.
It's fucked.
Fucked.
It's so fucked that if Joseph Mengele had visited the project, he'd be like, guys, come on. We're human beings. Let's show a little decency.
Even that shit heel might have been like, oh,
Yeah.
this is fucked up.
The guy who's like sewing twins' asses together to make artificial Siamese twins would be fucking blanching at the shit he saw in Unit 731.
No, this is terrible.
And he is a fuck all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right. So
clearly.
Obviously, that's no positive endorsement
So now that
of the Angel of Death.
we've gotten to fucking Unit 731, where do we go from here,
Okay.
Robert?
I'm going to get a little
All right,
description.
Let's get a
We're
little
gonna go with this.
info here.
Known to nearby inhabitants as the Den of Cannibals, Unit 731 was founded in 1932 by a brilliant yet clearly misguided Japanese bacteriologist named Shiro Ishii. The unit was designed to be a clandestine research and development department whose sole agenda was to create the most deadly forms of chemical and biological weapons known to man and thus ensure the victory of the Japanese Empire over any potential enemy. Ishii established Unit 731, codenamed Tongo Unit. This just sounds so fun and innocent. Oh, yeah, I'm part of Tongo Unit.
Yeah.
We do fucking sweet jungle maneuvers.
We surf and do cool shit.
He established this during the Second Sino-Japanese War, but didn't really make his terrible mark until he oversaw the construction of a new research facility in the Imperial Japanese Army-occupied Pingfang district of Harbin, China. So they obviously were at war with China. The Japanese occupied a good portion of China. If you watch like a Bruce Lee movie like Fist of Fury, or I don't know what the title is in the American version, that's where he's playing the Chinese rebel standing up to the Japanese and saying F off.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a big part of their culture. It's a big part of why the Chinese don't like the Japanese to this day. And it was on Chinese land that Shiro Ishii built this fucking den of horror.
Okay, all right. The den of fuckery.
It was there during World War II that the Japanese scientists of his division conducted some of the most deplorable biological experiments known to mankind. Even more inexcusable was the fact that this grotesque cabal used human beings, including women and infants, in their appalling experiments, which included everything from exposure to sub-zero temperatures to the vivisection of human guinea pigs to study the effects of toxic materials on living organs. Vivisection, of course, we all know, is the live dissection of an entity,
it's fucked up.
not the dead.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's some bad shit. Bainton discussed the magnitude of the unspeakable acts they had committed. Unit 731's brief was to find a chemical, gas, or biological weapon to win the war. Hideous, inhumane experiments were carried out on helpless Australian, American, Russian, Chinese, and British prisoners, some of the worst war crimes ever committed. That's an understatement, but that nails it.
Yeah, when you dig into Unit 731, it's real fucking bad.
Oh, it's bad.
So, yeah.
Despite the horrific nature and results of these diabolical experiments, following the end of the Second World War, General Douglas MacArthur, presumably in the interest of national defense, covertly granted immunity to Ishii and his staff in exchange for providing the U.S. with their biological warfare research.
So is this like Operation...
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of paperclip.
Paperclip, yeah.
Except I would call it like Operation Dirtbag Scalpel. I don't know. I don't know what you. It's like.
Dirtbag
I mean, I
Scalpel.
get you do the things you have to do, and sometimes you
No,
make
I
deals with the devil
know.
for
Right.
national
I know.
security. I
Right.
get all of that.
Yeah.
I get it's better that it comes into American hands
Right.
than Russian hands,
Right.
or what would eventually be the
So they're
powerful
basically
Chinese.
they're pardoning. They're basically giving this guy a pardon just to get his research.
100%.
Okay, all right.
It is.
All right. Well, it's
It is
fucked
a
up.
deal that
It's fucked
rankles the senses, but
Yeah, fucked up. All right.
is what happens.
Well, you know what? We took Nazis and allegedly got to the moon, but who am I to say?
We got to the fucking moon, and
Who-
thanks to Werner von Braun.
Who am I to say? Alleged
All
moon.
right, we're saving that for another day. I cannot go down the moon road right now. We have too much to deal with today.
Get your moon boots on, right? We're talking about the moon not being real. Continue.
We're going to do it eventually, and probably not so socially.
Yeah.
It's going to get ugly. Okay. It was in the years following that Bainton theorized these hazardous chemicals and devices of death were packed into the inconspicuous Dutch freighter in order to transport the material to a secure U.S. government facility or some other world power for both safety and concealment. Bainton explains his theory. So how was this deadly cargo moved around the South China Sea and through the Straits of Malacca during this troubled period? Not by air. The prospect of a cargo plane crashing with several tons of deadly gas on board was too horrendous to consider. No, you hired an insignificant old tramp steamer, preferably with a low-paid foreign crew, stowed the cargo in disguised oil drums, and like all serious smugglers, hoped for the best and a blind eye from authority. Bain surmised that seawater could have entered the ship's hold, reacting with the perilous cargo to release poisonous gases, which then caused the crew to suffocate in the open air. And that has to be a dense chemical release. If you're like in the wide open ocean, which is just full of sea breezes and whatnot,
Right.
and you're suffocating on the fucking deck of a ship.
If it's being held in that, if it's being
And the cargo
held,
hold is one thing.
Yeah, I mean, if it's below deck, but for whatever reason it has a reaction and it's just wafting up and coming up. I mean, actually, it would get probably pushed up even quicker.
Oh, it's a horror show.
Yeah, and then you're fucking in a,
So if it's
you're in
like
a cloud of deadly
a
farts.
hyperbiological agent
Yeah.
or a super like anthraxy chemical
Yeah.
thing, weapon of some sort. I mean, that could be
There you go.
all fucked up.
All because you fucking made a deal with Ishii.
Never make a deal with Ishii.
Never make a deal
you know
with
what you
Ishii.
do? Take Ishii off the table.
That's right. Remove Ishii completely.
And just destroy it. Like, don't let your enemies get a hold of it.
Yeah.
But be the better nation. I mean, I know that's not the protocol. The protocol is no more, be better prepared,
Right.
kill your enemy. I mean, I get it. And I'm glad to live free and safe. But some things are just better off destroyed and forgotten.
Well,
Ancient curses, Ishii's research papers.
Ishii's card catalog.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking set it on fire. You piece of shit. All right.
Following its discovery by the Silver Star, the onrushing saltwater might have reacted with the nitroglycerin, creating the explosive effect that was said to cause the Ourang Medan's ultimate demise. Bain even went on to speculate as to why the United States would go to such extreme lengths to expunge all records of the very existence of the freighter. If we accept, due to the nature of the crew's deaths, that she was carrying deadly gas or chemicals, and if indeed she was a Dutch vessel, had the news broken, it would have been a major embarrassment for any government involved, especially in the light of the Geneva Convention. Oh yeah, that old pesky thing.
Yeah,
that old little needle in the side, huh?
Goddamn Geneva Convention.
Damn. Hence the dead ends faced by any researcher. The story exists because, like the gases, it escaped. So are we to believe that the ultimate fate of the Ourang Medan and her crew was merely a tragic accident that was the result of combining dangerous chemicals on the high seas? Other researchers have suggested natural causes, surmising that the death ship's crew suffered the terrible fate of asphyxiation by clouds of noxious methane gas that gurgled up from a fissure on the sea floor and poisoned the sailors before eventually engulfing the ship. So I've heard about these alleged clouds of sudden methane
Right.
that can just surround you, suffocate you. You're fucked. You're basically drowning on dry land.
Sure.
Okay.
Or dry deck, I guess as the case may be. And I don't know how it makes a ship blow up, but methane is highly flammable.
It's flammable. Yeah.
So
well,
maybe if it hits the boiler room, and
right.
I mean, I don't know how Dutch freighters of this era
No.
worked.
No.
I'm assuming it's like an old train where you're shoveling coal,
like
and doing fucking
I'm pretty
dirty
good.
work.
I'm pretty solid with methane, but I don't know about how these Dutch freighter technology. I'm not sure what they're powered by. You see,
I don't know why I thought you were going further with that.
was it? I'm just like I don't know.
No.
I don't know how the fuck they work,
Yeah.
man. I mean, they got an engine room. So I'm assuming they got engines.
Wow.
Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go.
Good.
Some sort of fuel
I'm
makes them go.
Probably
And
not
this is why you're our
coal-powered.
engineer.
Probably not coal powered though. I'm going to assume. Maybe they just got like regular old engines, like diesel, perhaps.
Well, it could be,
Maybe,
I guess.
See,
you
again,
know?
19. I mean, it's an old freighter.
I think I drove a boat once and I was drunk.
It's an old freighter
Like,
in the
I don't know.
1940s.
Yeah.
I don't know how old the freighter
Dude,
was.
I once drove a bass boat on a Wasco Lake drunk. That's
So-
all I got. That's all I got for
So
seafaring.
much like earlier, you're saying it's exactly like the same thing. I know what it's like
Exactly.
to drive a Dutch freighter through the Malacca Straits because I once drunkenly piloted a lake boat.
There you go.
Nailed it. Okay.
Hey, that bass boat had engines on it.
Fair
had
enough.
Had a little
He
offload
did.
motor. We weren't shoveling coal, Robert. Not yet.
So, yeah, no, you've thoroughly debunked my idea. Nailed it.
I'm all for coal power.
As rational, though terrifying,
No,
as
I'm
the
not.
thought of a random burst of methane destroying an ocean-going vessel after killing its crew may be, this explanation does not account for the thunderous blast described by the crew of the Silver Star. unless, of course, there was something flammable. Author Vincent Gaddis, in his 1965 book Invisible Horizons, put forward the premise that an unobserved fire or failure in the ship's boiler system might have been responsible for the demise of the vessel and all on board. He claimed that carbon monoxide could have leaked up, causing the deaths of all on board, while the fire slowly grew, eventually igniting the fuel. Oh, fuel. I think you're onto something there.
All right, there we go.
And causing the craft to explode. This might help explain the deaths below deck, but seems implausible that the billowing high seas wind could do nothing to dissipate the gas for those on deck. Yeah, carbon monoxide, again, we're not experts on any gases.
Carbon monoxide from where?
From some sort of leaking
engine?
boiler or something,
Yeah.
I think he said. Could have leaked. That's all he says.
Yeah,
doesn't say from
if
where.
the engine, it could be.
So
from
if the engine's leaking carbon monoxide, but is that so dense that
I mean, it's
sea wind can't
I
make it
don't-
at least palatable?
I don't think it would get up to the deck and be able to do anything. It would just dissipate with the wind, I would think.
And we're all experts.
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
we've clearly
I don't
established
know.
that. Yeah, between my,
I mean, in all
you know,
fairness, the
coal
three of
power.
us really have focused most of our professional lives on maritime law. We're land,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
land
and
sailors.
chemistry.
It's true.
Yeah.
The molecules of dioxide and
Yeah.
monoxide.
These are the
Yeah.
things we know. So, but
Trioxide.
we're not experts on all things high seas.
I
we just have
drove
to
a boat
confess.
once.
You did. Drunk.
Actually, you know what? One time I drove a jet ski drunk.
Wow.
Wait, you were in a boat in Louisiana, almost got eaten by a gator, right?
I was in a boat
Yeah.
that tipped, and I was
are-
holding
are-
my camera,
didn't-
filming a documentary on the Honey Island Swamp Monster, and yes, I came dangerously close to a 15-foot gator,
Did your
but
boat,
I saved the camera.
Did your boat hit the gator?
No, it hit a log. It
Oh,
was
okay.
like a pontoon-type boat.
Right.
But it was going super fast. It hit a log. It tipped. My arm and shoulder went in
gotcha.
the water. I had the sagacity to fucking throw the camera to Mike D.
Sagacity.
Save the camera, and I was just looking. There was a stump nearby. I'm like, I got to get to that stump. All I
Yeah.
thought was, I'm
All
getting to
right.
that stump.
So
Yeah.
you're on a
Because I
boat.
thought the full thing was going to flip over.
Sure.
Me and you, man. We're on boats. We know what's up,
Yes,
right? Chris,
well-
you're on a boat.
Fuck a boat.
So I guess that
your
makes,
boats.
of the three of us, you're the admiral because you piloted 2 boats drunk.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the first mate because I fucking was
skidoo.
in a boat
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
at one point.
All right. Fine.
I actually did pilot a boat through the Bermuda Triangle.
what?
Yeah,
You
like
did?
a power boat. Just because I was out, it was in Florida visiting family, having some fun. They're like, "Hey,
Oh,
you
yeah,
want to
sure.
go to the Bermuda Triangle?
What?
You want to drive a boat?" And I'm like, "To drive a boat in the Bermuda Triangle,
You
how
never
do you
told
say
me about
no?"
this. Really? That's
Of course,
amazing.
I told you about this.
No, you haven't. I've honestly never heard this. This is amazing. You were in the boat in the Bermuda
Jesus Christ.
Triangle?
Yeah. In his 1955 book, The Case for the UFO, astronomer, author, and noted UFO and Philadelphia experiment researcher Morris K. Jessup hypothesized that the crew of the Ourang Medan may have been attacked by extraterrestrials for reasons unknown. It's
That's
kind of
What?
a jump.
Yeah.
Morris K. Jessup?
that's a-
Yeah.
I mean, the Philadelphia experiment itself, though I love
Jessup.
the 80s movie, and it starred Michael Pare or whatever his name is. He was
Oh,
Eddie
yeah.
from the Cruisers, I believe. And I was fascinated by the idea of it, especially because it was portrayed as a real thing and people half embedded in fucking walls and stuff, like their
Yeah,
whole
it's
molecular
real fucked
content
up.
got all fudged up. But I think it's pretty compelling evidence that it was just an anti-Gaussing procedure that turned into a huge legend that probably doesn't have a lot of merit. Maybe I'll do the solid research sometime and we'll deal with it, but right now I'm real dubious on
So
that.
it was for unknown reasons they were attacked by aliens?
Regardless of any extraterrestrial connection, Bainton and others have further proposed that the records may have been eradicated by a savvy group of governmental conspirators to conceal the fact that the Ourang Medan was transporting illicit materials for the Allies following World War II. So he's also kind of agreeing with Bainton's theory.
All right. Okay. All right.
Despite the fact that the United States Coast Guard seems to have confirmed the tale, and that other noted nautical authors have invested so much time and so many resources in availing themselves of the truth of this incident, skeptics insist that the whole story is nothing more than a good old-fashioned seaman's fable. And until the day some intrepid and perhaps a bit unlucky salvager stumbles across the Ourang Medan's watery grave, it's likely to remain an unsolved horror story firmly entrenched in the salty realm of maritime myth.
All right. So we got aliens or chemical weapons.
Or it didn't happen at all.
Or it
Or it
didn't happen at all. Can we work a Sasquatch into this, you
Sure
think?
can.
All right.
Swim squash.
Oh,
Stop
swim
it.
squash.
The aqua
yeah.
squash.
The aqua squash. That's
Oh,
even
aqua
better.
squash is so much better.
Yeah.
Thank you. Swim squash. Just fucking get rid of that.
Swim.
Just You know what? That
Oh,
was
no.
beta. That was a beta program.
No,
Yeah.
that's a shirt.
Swim squatch for
Yeah.
the aqua squatch.
All right, so I would like to think that maybe somewhere in here we could pick apart some sort of like alien connection, but it's brought up for real briefly, and there's nothing to really support it. So I don't know, Rob, make me believe in aliens.
All right.
Why?
I don't know where Morris K. Jessup
Why?
came up with this. I don't know why. He even said for reasons unknown. But if indeed they were transporting some truly heinous, dangerous shit that Douglas MacArthur, in all his good Pacific conquering wisdom, deemed necessary to bring to civilized areas for, I don't know, safekeeping and the, furtherance of fucking the American defense, an extraterrestrial society might be like, oh, fuck you. Because Ishii was way ahead of the curve. I mean, he was brilliant. There's no denying it. He was a fuck-all, a turd burglar, a shitbag, but he was fucking brilliant. So he might have pioneered some shit maybe unlike things we even have today.
So you think maybe this could be, for some unknown reason, like well, we know the reasons, but some sort of like alien intervention where they pop down, they're like, oh shit, no, you don't do that, and then they fucking wipe it out.
And let's deal with alternate ideas. I mean, if they are creatures, like some have suggested, like we've proposed many times, that share our planet, even if it's in some different parallel version of it or some hidden realm within it or some pocket reality, whatever you want to call it, the super spectrum. If this is their world as much as ours, they could be like, oh no. Because especially what would worry me more than anything, chemical stuff is horrible and brutal, but
Sure.
bacteriological, fucking biowarfare, that shit goes like the Stand. Wicked quick. So you got like, if he developed like super Ebola before it was even cool, and you literally shit out, sneeze, and bleed fucking bacteria, and everyone within a fucking 30-foot radius gets it, and it just would spread exponentially. If it's their planet too, they might be like, fuck it, we got to save the world. Now, again, I don't think necessarily Jessup was fucking saying any of this, but you asked me to make you believe, and this is the best guess I have on the fly.
Well, I mean, hey, we're trying to get that. We're trying to work that alien angle in there. But let's just go right to that maybe these guys were in fact smuggling some sort of like chemical weapons and bacteriological weapons, or whatever.
So much of these gases, I don't see how. The mystery isn't like how a ship blows up, especially an old freighter with combustible gases and whatnot, in the high rough seas of the Malacca Straits. That's not a mystery. The mystery is death, sudden, where it's not like they were crawling to each other and holding each other. It's not like they were found in sitting positions where they sat down because they were in so much pain they were trying to deal with it. It's like they were stricken right where they fucking stood instantaneously.
Yeah, or at least
so that's really the mystery.
Pretty quickly thereafter.
Which, if it was some sort of chemical weapon that was released, and that would probably, depending on
how fast does a nerve agent work?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what it is, really, and how quickly it reacts.
So
with
it
you.
goes back to if it was a Unit 731 experiment, or something similar to that, and it was something that could kill that fast, that brutally. That to me is a fascinating mystery, not on the paranormal front, but that if it survived, if samples of it did survive, and MacArthur ended up getting into whatever hands, and America absolutely has biological warfare labs, despite the Geneva Convention. Every major power does. Every industrialized nation.
It's like having a nuclear power. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Except that you're not supposed to have that. There's no treaty about the nuclear. There's treaties about this. But we have it, and we have it in case, I don't know, the worst case scenario or whatever. So if any of these survive to make it to these labs, I guess the real mystery would be like, if there was an outbreak today, how far could it infect? How is it like, is it biological, and does it spread super quick? It doesn't seem like a disease that moved that quick. It's almost unfathomable.
It sounds like
it sounds chemical.
Absolutely.
like you were saying, like a nerve agent or something. So I mean,
and it's dense enough so that, again, so many of the crew is on the deck. And sea winds.
Or
and whatnot.
I mean, maybe it was a combination of things too. Why not just one? There could have been 3 or 4 different things on there.
That like coalesced into like a super death.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
maybe one was just a nerve thing that wasn't really quick, but then if you had something else like a cyanide on top of something else,
like a nerve agent that like put your body into instant rictus, so you froze where you were,
Sure,
fell. and then you maybe slowly sat there and asphyxiated.
Sure.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
I could see
some
that.
bacteriological thing or some other
Yeah.
fuck all.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
wherever
mean-
this thing was in the hold, if for whatever reason it reacted, if it's down there, it's going to make its way out. It's not just going to sit in the room. It's going to just kind of waft its way out. So if it's coming up, depending on wherever the hold is and how the deck is set up, however this thing is going to come up, if they're shooting through and the wind is just coming, like, let's say towards the nose of the ship, it's just going to blow it all back at everybody. If like hold 4 is in the front. So wherever this thing is situated, it very well could just come up and just blast everybody.
I just
with
find
this
that
chemical.
unless it's like literally
Which would
the
make sense
quickest
for a quick
acting
death.
agent ever.
Yeah.
And it would have to be to
Right.
okay. Except for the fucking communication guy, which
Who's
could
like-
tap out some mad shit.
I die.
Like he's not even just talking about the captain and the crew being done, but like they're in the galley.
Right.
Cook was making donuts. We were all looking
You know,
forward to
or-
it. Then he died in the fryer.
Or
Yep.
wherever in the hold that it actually escaped as people were just doing their shit. If maybe they didn't notice it or whatever, they just all start dropping. And then everyone's like, oh, shit, what's going on below deck? And that's when the guy's tapping out his message until eventually he ends up getting it. It's almost like the fog. Like it just kind of
it's 100%
creeping up
like
on
the
you.
fog.
Yeah, it's creepy. All right, so
Like that ship,
chemical,
that ship is completely on the
No, it's
fucking high
fucked.
seas now.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's a burned out
Yeah.
husk with
Yeah.
like fucking totally the fog-esque wraiths.
yeah,
Fucking
that's
riding
gnarly.
it, just waiting to poison whomever they touch.
So
And there's another thing just that has to be mentioned that kind of steers us away from bacteriological, and that the chemical, whatever it was, must have been so fast acting that it also dissipated like lightning because nobody on the rescue freighter
Yeah.
was described as becoming sick.
no.
Falling immediately ill, throwing up on the ship,
Which
dying
very well
moments
could,
later.
It could
Right.
have dissipated by the time that
And
they
it's
got
not
there.
like they didn't go below deck.
Well,
So,
they did.
granted, it took a couple hours to get there, so
Right.
that gives you a little time. But, I mean, in the lower holds, if it was a chemical leak, you would think
Mm-hmm.
there'd still be enough there if it can literally drop everyone within a
Right.
hot second.
All right.
That could be.
I'm shocked
be.
that so that actually just adds to the mystery,
Yeah.
making it pretty clear to me it's sea wraiths.
All right. So Rob's going with. Are you going to go with sea wraiths?
Oh,
You're
the
going to wait.
angry demons of the sea. Listen, the seas are vast and inscrutable, and they are the biggest part of our planet. They offer the most living space. Things are being discovered there all the time, most of which, of course, we recognize as biological. We're cryptid fans. That makes sense. But who's to say there isn't, like, anti-abyss, like, undulating hell things that if you're fucking up and carrying, like, say, super dangerous chemicals, you're like,
Right.
oh, you're going to fucking leak this in my ocean? This is my home, bitch.
Wrong.
Just like the Seatopians in Godzilla versus Megalon.
Yeah.
Too
there
much
you go.
pollution demands revenge.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
so
a deep cut, I know.
Cockroach
So,
people.
vengeful sea wraiths saying, fuck you,
All
fuck
right.
your chemicals, fuck your war, fuck off.
All right. I'm saying.
And they all got strangled. That's why they looked like they were grasping at unseen assailants.
Oh,
They even killed the
gnarly.
dog
I don't think I'm
because they don't
Megalon.
care.
That's fucked up, man. Why would you kill a dog?
Sea wraiths don't
man?
give fucks.
Apparently they don't.
Yeah, they kill everything.
All right, fine, whatever. Fuck you, sea wraiths. Leave the dog alone.
Yeah.
Chris.
But I'll tell you what, they're going to be a key ally against the ultra-terrestrials.
They could be.
We're going to have to forge alliances that we didn't think possible,
Okay.
and we usually wouldn't
All
go
right.
for.
All right,
Sea
Christopher.
wraiths are one.
Christopher, thoughts, concerns, questions.
It didn't happen. None of it happened.
All right. Oh, there you go. That's the easiest one right there.
None
Didn't happen.
happened.
Nothing
I
happened.
think there's a lot of compelling evidence that it happened. Regardless of sea wraiths,
I mean,
I
there
really
is
do think
actually-
that there's a lot of
but there's
compelling
only
evidence.
one
But it's
dude.
still
I
couldn't
know
have-
it's Otto
It's
Milky's
one
fucking
dude's
booklet.
pamphlet. Yeah, like he's just printing pamphlets. I mean, I don't know if I trust him.
He's at
I really
airports
don't.
handing out
Yeah,
pamphlets.
Seriously, like he's just printing
You're saying
pamphlets.
pamphlet
guess
like
what
it's a
happened?
dirty word. Like if somebody prints a pamphlet, it's suddenly dubious
Yeah,
and
because
shitbag.
dude, when you're not doing a zine or a fucking newspaper. Like,
A zine
here's
is a
my
fucking pamphlet,
It's not.
basically.
It's like a. I'm thinking pamphlet.
Oh,
It's like
I
a
am
little,
not
it's
gonna
like a
argue
little thing. It's like, here you go.
semantics.
Here's my pamphlet.
So you trust a zine, but not a pamphlet.
I'm concerned about paper size. It makes me think of you as a different person.
So integrity v paper size. Do you have like a fucking chart?
I
know.
do.
So the Declaration of Independence is impunable because
Exactly.
it's big fucking paper.
That's what I mean.
Exactly.
If it was
biggest piece of
parchment-
paper you ever seen, baby.
Or if it was
boy.
carved in stone and he was handing those out.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
would
well,
be different.
tablets are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
of
it's truth. But
I mean, there's one. So, all right, size of the paper aside, there's one. There's fucking one dude with a pamphlet
man.
from Germany, Mr. Milky, who's like, oh yeah, no, this is what I've heard. So
He might have talked to an
Maybe
original
he's-
eyewitness.
look, maybe
yes,
he's
I would like
trying-
more auto
He may
info.
have.
maybe he's trying to get the info out, or maybe he's just some fuckhead
Conspiracy
writing
theorists,
dumb shit. Yeah,
some crazy crackhead
I
German
looked to
just
see
fucking
his
sketching down
his other
weird ideas.
pamphlets.
Yeah, it's
What
true.
are his
Moon
other
Who?
pamphlets? Yeah.
Remember that one? Remember that pamphlet?
Ah, yeah.
Well, fuck.
Hollow flat Earth where? Oh,
How flat Earth where?
Hollow flat.
Oh,
Yeah, not how. Hollow.
either way,
It's a
impeccable
cone,
grammar.
dude. It's a cone.
Oh.
No,
Earth's
what
a
the
cone?
fuck is a cone? See, it's not flat. It's a cone.
No, it's a flat. It's a upside down.
I get more and more mad
It's like
about
a
this.
like a flying citadel.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always got to be ground.
You have to.
underneath.
It's clearly hollow. We've established that. Admiral Byrd told us.
well, how can it be flat
hollow
and
cone.
hollow?
Because it's a cone.
Just the
Admiral Byrd
surface
told
is
us
flat.
none of that at all. For the record,
Because Otto Milky didn't include it in his pamphlet.
he should have.
I know that you love zines and I love zines and Chris loves zines, but
Of
I don't
course.
want you to trust Mr. Milky's pamphlets. I don't.
All right,
I don't
that's
have
fair.
a good faith in it. It makes me nervous.
All right, let's talk
As
about
a friend, I need to warn you.
Roy Baton's globe-trotting expedition,
Okay.
where he found not a lot of evidence. I'm conceding, but
Oh my god.
still felt there was some merit
He
right.
felt.
Felt.
after reading Otto Milky's pamphlet.
Debunked.
God damn it! At least you know I'm honest.
All right, Chris
I'm calling
may,
it.
Chris
Fuck.
may have discovered that, in fact, the Ourang Medan is the fucking...
It's a great fucking story.
It is a great story. Totally.
Yeah, well, it's terrible, but it's a
I mean,
great
it's-
sea yarn.
Yeah, totally.
It's totally what you expect going back to the fog, John Houseman to be telling the kids about on the beach at the
Right.
beginning of the fog.
Well, it just
Yeah.
feels cinematically like a movie.
Oh,
Like all of a
100%.
sudden there's this, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden there's
like,
the
oh,
room,
no.
and then there's the mystery, and then I'm like, it all
It sounds good.
builds.
Yeah, totally.
it follows this pattern of story like telling.
All right, well, I mean, hey, I think we nailed it. I think
So,
it's
sea
there.
wraiths. We're all in agreement.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Addendum.
Yeah.
Nope. Sea race.
Oh, sure. All right. Thank you for joining us for the Kryptonaut podcast. Thank you to everyone who contributes to our Patreon campaign. Be sure to check that out. It is patreon.com/Kryptonaut podcast. This month we are reaching back into the archives to dig out episodes that we may have shelved at one point, but we have adjusted them and they are out for people to listen to, right?
Absolutely.
Is that what we did?
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
what we
they
did.
could have
That's
been
what we did.
lost in the archives, just like
We pulled them out.
Raiders of the Lost Ark's
Yeah.
fucking great Lost Ark. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I drew a blank on the name Lost Ark
Oh, wow.
after
The
literally
Raiders of
saying
the Lost
What was the name
Raiders
of that?
Lost
Thinking of the
Ark's
Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Object of
There you
gold.
go. Yeah.
Rectangle of love.
the box.
of
Angel
godly
box.
Love.
So
Yes.
be-
The angel box.
Be sure to sign up for our
But
Patreon
now it is
campaign.
found.
Yep, and
It has been discovered
they're
and
out.
little. Maybe they were a little drunken. Maybe they
It's
were a little
okay.
haphazard.
It's a good time.
Maybe they were a lot of fun.
They were tons of fun. So check that out again. That is patreon.com/Kryptonaut podcast. Social medias, and this is Twitters and Facebooks. Check us out there. Ratings and reviews are helpful. iTunes, Apple Podcasts. We got some news, boys. iTunes is going away. Apple is taking it out of whatever fucking rotation, and they're going to have the Apple Podcast app. So pretty soon, all we got
Okay.
to say is just rate and review us in the Apple Podcast
I guess
app.
that's why they wanted us to emphasize it so
There
much. They're always
could
looking
be.
to break the two up.
Could be. So there you have it. Thank you as always, and we're talking to you soon.
Bye.
Lost fucking Ark. Seriously.
Lost Ark, dude.
Jesus
it happens, man.
Christ.
Whatever. Look it, dude. It happens. We had a look at last week's episode. Took a lot out of us. It affected others more. It affected others more.
I really hobbled you for days. I know. It was a tough one.
No, not the swamp. The other one that we recorded.
No,
Howled me for
I
days.
know
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
No, one that I think should see release.
We'll talk about that.
we're going to talk.
We'll
we have to have a team meeting.
Yeah, we
I
have to have
know.
a corporate meeting.
First off, we have a team building exercises. We're all going to fall in each other's arms.
No, what's
And
going to
then-
happen is I'm
And then
going to listen
Chris,
to it.
Chris is going to accidentally delete it.
A half an hour into it, I'm going to call Mark and I'm going to be like, dude.
This is fucking terrible. Let's delete it.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
It
that-
was a new challenge for us.
It
It really was.
and I may have failed at this challenge greatly, but you know what? It's okay because we live, we learn.
We do.
And here we are talking about a ghost ship that might not be a ghost ship, but we're talking to you soon.
Sea Wraith.
Bye.
Wraith of the Seas.